What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What's Up Cuzzo podcast with your two favorite cousins. We got Melly in the building. Sorry, Melly in the whip.
Yes, sir. On the road, not in the building, but I'm here, present,
Yes,
hands
sir. That's
free.
the most important thing. Most important thing. He is present, and we got me in a alternate location. Um, man. So, Cuzzo, how you feel?
I'm good, man. Another stellar week. Always happy when we get to Friday. Got the big week. Got a week off, so I got a chance to get some stuff done and hopefully get some relaxation in there somewhere. And yeah, man, that's what's on my mind currently. What about you? What you got going?
I wanted to ask another question, man. Well, you already answered it, and I was gonna ask you how your week was, but it's all good. Man, everything is good actually, man. I am getting ready and getting prepared for this Thanksgiving break that we get, and time with family. I'm anticipating that, but so far so good. Everything's been kind of slow motion. A lot of rain though. It's definitely been raining out here. A lot.
Yeah,
Trying to keep my feet wet. I mean, keep my feet dry.
right.
But also getting my feet wet in some new content and new things. So I'm just, trying to get my cybersecurity game up. But yeah, not to talk y'all to death. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up a topic real quick right now. Oh yeah, man! Shout out to the Cowboys, man. They beat my Raiders.
Oh
I
man,
put
I
them on.
wasn't gonna bring that up, but since you
No, it's
did, man,
okay.
yeah.
It's
I
okay,
mean,
man.
listen, it's one of those things to where it was like, okay, yes, it's the Raiders, but they in the NFL, so it's
Oh,
always
now it's that. Okay, I got it. I got it.
it's
Yeah,
always that.
I'm just saying when I asked who did when you asked who did the Raiders play, I said it was the NFL team, and it didn't sound like you was too fond of that response. So I don't know. I'm just
I
trying
kind
to
of
figure
thought
it
about
out.
it after you said it. I said, you know what, you're right. NFL team, cool. Now, will that get you to the playoffs? Probably not, but we'll see. You never know; things can turn around.
Well, like I said before, we probably gonna be in the same spot. Well,
Eventually,
yeah.
after the Super Bowl win,
After the
yeah,
Super Bowl, what?
after the Super Bowl win,
What Super Bowl win?
everybody end up on the couch eventually. Of course, that's where you live.
You talking about who going to the Super Bowl?
The Cowboys.
Yeah, okay. All right, next topic. Uh,
Same.
huh?
You gotta speak it into existence, even though it's not true.
Oh man, come on. It's one thing speaking stuff into existence, and one thing being delusional.
Not necessarily. It's not like I am. It's not like I'm calling myself a woman when I'm a man. That's delusional.
Oh shoot! All right, all right. Oh man, hey, next topic. We're gonna go to to
It's
the next
funny.
topic,
See.
man. All right. So, Pete, um, let me see. First topic. I'm gonna drop this in here. There's something that popped up today, brand new. We'll see what you got to say about this topic right here. There we go.
It's tipping culture out of control.
And if I'm at a restaurant and shit, I'll even look. If you spending $3K on a meal, you should have to tip $600. To me,
I could get like a $400 meal, nigga, and I'm only giving a 10 or a 20 on how you was on that night. Like that's how I rock for real. Unless I really like, I'm trying to flatter some shit, I'll leave a little hundo out there or something.
Well, you need 20% refund.
Cause So what you think about
Yeah.
those gentlemen right there?
I mean, that's the mindset, of those individuals, and it could be the guy that was talking. I can't speak for the other dude, but essentially, when you leave in a tip, yes, it's for the service. Yes, it's for how attentive they were, but you also want to, understand that, yeah, okay, they don't get paid that much, but it's not up to me to pay the other half of your paycheck. That's up to management, because I've seen videos about that too.
Right.
So it's a courtesy. It's one of those things to where it's like, okay, if I buy this much, then it should be 10%, 15%, 20%. The tip ratio has been going up like the stock market, with no returns, because once I eat the food, that's it. I can't really,
You get a return.
I can't really write that off on my taxes. I can't add that to my asset sheets.
And yeah, it is your assets. That's where the return is at.
But I'm saying, after I eat the food, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, only return I'm gonna get is probably getting to the toilet. That's probably it. That's the only return I'm gonna get. But
Yeah.
I mean, understandably so. I mean, it's just kind of like a nod to, like, I appreciate you, waiting on me, bringing my food. I appreciate the service. You were attentive. You were above and beyond. And then these days, it's more also personality. It's the vibe. It's a lot of different things. Why you would go above and beyond. Some people just like the conversation that you had
Right.
off script. It wasn't just like, hey, can I take your food? Okay, I'll be back. And then, okay, you want some water? Here you go. No straws. I mean, all those things, I know I'd be checking off the boxes, how attentive they were, how much they came back and checked on us. Did they come back once, twice? What is that? But I usually try to leave, either, 10%, 15%, or 20%, depending on, that interaction or that connection in terms of how well we connected during the service. And that's above and beyond. When people go above and beyond, you definitely want to bless them with a little bit more if you can. That's just from my standpoint. What you got on that?
I think it's, in my opinion, I would say, because I always, try to tip, I'm sorry, not try, but I always tip when, I visit a restaurant, I sit down and somebody is serving me, because they are getting paid by, by the company that they're employed by, but also, I want to encourage, good service. So I'll make sure that, I give a tip. A lot of times at these places, people are, not getting paid very much. And guess what? It's not necessarily, I'm not gonna say that's anybody's fault. We should, probably look, into, like if you're, if you want to make more money, there's other jobs you can look into. You can increase your skills and things like that. But I believe that if somebody is offering you a service, then you should, tip accordingly. Now, I do agree that, actually, I'll just add to that. A lot of these jobs, don't have a livable wage, but actually, even if you go to these expensive restaurants, kind of like, I think it was Michael Porter Jr. He said that if he pays like a few $1,000s for a check, he doesn't feel he has to pay like $600, for a tip. I don't necessarily agree with that, because you are sitting down, you are paying for it, but I don't know. I just don't agree, man. I've always been taught to tip, especially if somebody is serving you. Now, I would say this other thing is that when I go pick up my food, like, it has gotten kind of out of hand. Like, you know, I've seen like up to 25% when they're, you know, just handing me my food, they're not servicing me and stuff. And I still tip. You know, is it right or is it wrong? I don't know. I guess it depends on the person, you know, but I believe if you're sitting down at a restaurant and somebody is, you know, serving you, then you should. I mean, if somebody's offering the service, like, you know, we get our haircut, you know, I haven't done it in a while, you know, they get paid, you know, they have a base fare, but then a lot of times, you know, people tip them, you know, because they did a very good job there, which, if you think about it, hey, you should be doing a good job of cutting my hair because that's your job. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're here. But I know I used to drive, you know, Uber or whatever, and guess what? You know, I was using my vehicle, you know, to pick people up, drop people off, you know, get there safely, and then they wanted to talk to me, and I didn't necessarily like that, but you know, I would engage with them. You know, sometimes, you know, I'll play a certain playlist and they might like the playlist, and then, you know, they'll end up tipping me, and then sometimes they didn't, but when they did, it made me feel better, and the next person, it made me want to, you know, give them better service, you know, and whatever that looked like, because, you know, I got a tip, you know, and I wasn't necessarily expecting it, because some people do. You know, you've seen the videos where people like, hey, like, you're not gonna tip me, you know, like Uber Eats or DoorDash. I've seen those videos where people are upset because they didn't get a tip. So, I mean, I think it's important to tip the people, you know, and especially like these dudes, man. This dude said if he pays a $400 bill, he's only tipping like 10. But if he's trying to like impress somebody, I'm assuming a girl that looks good, and then he's gonna pay 100. Like, what does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, you try to floss, you know, so you're gonna give 100. I mean, yeah, that's dumb, bro. Like, you guys make millions and millions of dollars, you know, in the NBA. I'm not saying like be irresponsible and just give your dough away. Come on, bro. Like, you know, the people have, you know, family as well too, and they have things they need to take care of. And I'm not saying pay for that. It's not your job to pay for that, but they're serving you. Now, if they're doing a horrible job, then I could say like, okay, maybe not. But if they're taking care of you, then you should be tipping them the correct amount. And that you're muted though. I muted you because it was background noise, but yeah. And what that amount is, it's up to you. They say 15% at first, now it's 20%. And like I've seen 25%. So yeah. Anything else you wanted to hop in there on, Cuzzo? No? Okay, cool. So let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Leave us a comment and let us know what you think about tipping. Is tipping culture getting crazy? Do you tip? I know what tip I do like giving. Talk to your mama. No, I'm just playing. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so this next topic. In Chicago, they reported property taxes have gone crazy in Chicago. I will not talk a lot about it because they have a newscaster for a reason, and I don't get paid to do that, but I'll let you hear what they got to say.
At Harmony Community Church here in Lawndale, as they're trying to light the way to fairness with this bonfire and discussion tonight. Many homeowners across Chicago receiving a hefty property tax increase in the mail, and they're all wondering where that money is going.
How can you maintain your home if your taxes are constantly going up?
Homeowners in Lawndale are searching for answers together tonight about their property tax hikes. Community leaders partnered with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation to host this bonfire, allowing neighbors to discuss their options. One man says he received a bill this week that was $977 more than what he paid last year.
Tax increases tied to a TIF that I have no idea why. Ogden Pulaski TIF is collecting money from our neighbors in our streets, but we're not being notified for what or why it's in the bill.
The group discussed a number of solutions for the issue, including an effort to propose new policy, which would be modeled after California's Prop 13. That would limit property taxes to 1% of assessed value, with annual increases capped at 2%. Homeowners are also frustrated because they feel like they're not seeing the tax hikes lead to notable investment in their neighborhoods.
There's been a divestment in this community for the most part, but it seems like now that people have found an interest in reclaiming the neighborhood, now it's like we're being taxed for prosperity.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas also spoke earlier today on the tax bills while at a Rainbow Push event. She says there are new avenues for homeowners to pay these bills at their own pace.
You do not have to pay your bill on December 15th. Did you hear that? You don't have to pay it. Let me tell you why. We went to Springfield last year and set up a payment plan.
Pappas says you could go online on December 16th and find payment plans for up to 13 months. That's welcome news to these homeowners, but they still want some clarity on those tax hikes.
We understand utilities are going up and things of that nature, but it's a valuation issue. Like we don't have schools we need, those economics that aren't here, but we're being charged to pay for economics in other people's communities.
Now, some people here tell us they haven't even received their property tax bills yet, but we are told that those are going out around Chicago throughout this week.
All right, so I'm sure this is going to be happening in a lot of different cities, but every year, you know, your city is required to come up with a budget for the city. And there's some shortfalls, it seems like, here in Chicago. And so property taxes are being increased again. And from what I hear, you know, some of them are being doubled, which is crazy, which is insane. It's like a scam, you know what I mean? Like they want you to, you know, they say, you know, come, you know, to America. Well, if you're already here in America, guess what? You know, you work, you know, save up your money, you get a good job, you hold on one second. You get a good job, you know, you have a family, then you know, buy a house with a white picket fence and all that stuff. And then like if you look now, like people, then you hear people about people losing their homes. So once you get the home, there's a couple things. Mortgage, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you don't pay your mortgage, you know, and actually me and my buddy talked about this. Hey, he was like, you pay your mortgage for say you have a 30-year mortgage, you pay a mortgage for 29 years. And if you late a couple times, they could come take your ish. Then, you know, you can't pay your property taxes. Guess what? They could come take your ish. And a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people because I don't know the numbers per se, but there's people out there who are elderly, who retired, who, you know, had own their home outright. And if they don't pay their property tax, guess what? They lose their house. And guess who it goes back to? It goes back to the bank. And so it seems like a legal racket, which there's a lot of other ones out there. It's like a legal racket because they could come take your house. And then, you know, the people are saying, like, guess what? You're not doing anything to improve the city. You're not, you know, fixing anything. You're not, you know, putting money into the schools. Like, what are you doing? Like, why is this tax hike being done? And in a lot of these cities, that same thing has happened. They're just taxing the hell out of people, and people are not able to survive. And this is one thing, like the people, you know, I don't know if it's any of you out there, but think about this. They say tax the rich, right? If I have millions of dollars and I'm in a place where I'm getting taxed 30, 40, 50%, I have the resources to bounce. I'm going to leave and go to a place where I'm not getting taxed to hell. And guess what? Guess what that means? Who's gonna pay the taxes? The people who are not millionaires. So y'all just think about that. If y'all have this philosophy, tax the rich, like you're gonna end up being stuck with the bill. And then think about this also. If you're a business, I mean, if you're an owner, a homeowner, and you rent out your home, guess who's gonna end up paying the property taxes? The tenants. So you can say, guess what? I don't have a home. I don't have to worry about it. Guess what? Yes, you do. Because guess what? That rent is gonna go up because the property taxes are going up. I don't know, man. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a racket, but I don't know everything. Cause what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff that they were saying in there, I agree with in terms of what the people were saying. You're not doing anything to better the community, to update, to refresh, to repair. So, why is our property taxes being raised? Where is that tax money going? Who is it going to? Because it's not going to take care of anything, where I live. It's not going to, go to bettering, my children's school. So I definitely think it is a legal racket, because especially if I pay off my home, then why am I paying property taxes? And then people need to figure out and find out what are taxes and if I need to pay them or not. Is it legal to pay taxes? Am I supposed to be paying taxes, or am I volunteering to pay taxes? Because somebody says I has to pay something, then who are you? The IRS is not even a government entity, so we need to see and understand, okay, where is this money going to? Is it going to the government? Is it going to private, shareholders? Who is it going to? So, yeah, that's one of those things to where you see it, and it's like, yeah, if it's happening here, it's going to start happening in other places, in other spaces, and people move around the country and they move to different states to get away from stuff like this. But eventually, it goes and moves everywhere, and it's going to move to where people can't get away from it. So what are we going to do? That's my spiel.
Got you. Yeah, you're 100% right that it's going to start happening other places. This is particular place is Chicago, but I don't know. I can see it happening in LA. I haven't looked into it. I don't own my home out here, so I don't know about my property taxes if they going up or not. But yeah, I could see it happening. And guess what? Like, not only are the property taxes going up, or they could go up, but there's other things that are going on in the city, like in Chicago, for instance. And this is something that I know because somebody else was covering Chicago and some things that were going on there. But they sold their city parking to Saudi Arabia. So like if you park in downtown Chicago, now that money is not going to the city, that money is going to another country. Like, think about that. And this is not like a temporary thing. This is like a 10-year thing. So they own it for like up to 10 years or something crazy like that. I could look it up really quick right now and see, but let me see. Let's see, Chicago. Yeah, Chicago sold parking meters. Let's see. So peep that right there. So I don't know if y'all can see it. I don't know if my face is in the way or not, but In 2008, Chicago privatizes 36,000 parking meters by selling. Oh, I'm sorry, I said 10 years. 75-year lease to a group of private investors for $1.6 billion. So I was way off. It doesn't say where they're from. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. Led by Morgan Stanley and included the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. $1.6 billion for 75 years, bro. That's insane. That is hella, that's insane. And so this is what's going on. We don't know where a lot of this money is going to, you know, kind of like you kind of alluded to, Cuzzo. And they're gonna keep taxing the hell out of people. We need some people, some politicians, some leaders that are going to really be for the people, because if you're for the people, then you're not just here to just tax the hell out of your people. Because how can we live if we're getting taxed like crazy? But let me know what you guys think. We're gonna go ahead and hop to the next topic. We're moving quickly. Let's see here. So we're gonna share this right here. Okay. So next topic. I'm sure a lot of you heard about this, but there was a mother in Chicago who was beaten by several children from a middle school. Let's see what we got to say.
Outrage in South Deering tonight. A mother and child beaten on the way home from school.
The attack was caught on cell phone video and has sparked demands for immediate action. Casey Cronus is live at Chicago Police Headquarters with the latest. Casey.
That's right. And community members, as you mentioned, they want answers. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson and other elected officials tonight are condemning the attack as well, calling it deeply disturbing. And we need to warn you, it is heartbreaking to watch this video. It happened yesterday, shortly after school dismissal, and we have blurred and frozen the video before things escalate. Chicago police.
There is outrage in South Deering tonight. A mother and child beaten on the way home from school.
The attack was caught on cell phone video and has sparked demands for immediate action. Casey Cronus is live at Chicago Police Headquarters with the latest. Casey.
That's right. And community members, as you mentioned, they want answers. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson and other elected officials tonight are condemning the attack as well, calling it deeply disturbing. And we need to warn you, it is heartbreaking to watch this video. It happened yesterday, shortly after school dismissal, and we have blurred and frozen the video before things escalate. Chicago police are now investigating after a 33-year-old mother named Korshanda and her 9-year-old son were viciously attacked near 106th and Bensley. Her young daughter was also there. The terrifying incident unfolded just a couple blocks away from Orville Bright Elementary School, where the boy is a student. Korshanda says they were walking home when a group of kids began following them, then started punching and kicking the mother and son.
They fought my son, they hit my son first, all in his face. Then they dragged me in the grass and pulled my little baby hair. I'm trying to get justice for my son. I'm thankful for everybody that came out here today to support me.
Community members rallied outside the school today with the boys' parents.
Because
Yeah. What's up?
Where we at, man?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even sound right. I don't even understand, what happened, why it happened. That's crazy. Why did they get jumped? What was going on with that happening, I don't even understand, the issue. I understand, what happened, but why did it happen? That's what I want to know. That seems crazy. It's got random kids just whooping on you and your kid and your son. I don't get that one.
Yeah, no. There's some like the first part of this interaction. We don't know. I don't know what happened. I did hear that this is not the first incident. And there's been like, of course, like they said, a backlash. There's also been parents of the kids who were involved in this that came forth and, they're apologizing, but this is an issue, like, and I'm not condoning bullying anybody like a kid, but these kids have just like lost all respect and lost all the care, like I don't want to say care. I don't know. It is crazy. I like when I watched the actual video uncensored, and it was just wild. Like I remember back in the day, going to school, like yeah, kids would fight. You would, hey, run outside, to school because somebody fighting, or everybody a crowd around because somebody fighting. But you never heard about no kids fighting an adult. Like there's been a major decline in the respect, given, and it could be from the other side too. We don't know the full story, but based off the information that was provided, it was unwarranted or it was an unwarranted attack. Like I saw they were bullying the boy, and they hit the boy, and the woman was trying to protect him, and they just start, firing on the woman as well. Like I've never seen, anything like this. The lack of disrespect across the board. We even have others, other instances of things like this happening. Like, people, I saw a video where a guy hit a 70-year-old woman. Like bro, like there used to be unspoken codes, and those codes, I don't think they're out the window. Like it's gotten worse and worse and worse. What are the kids being taught these days? Because if an adult said something out of the way to you, I would tell my mom or my dad. I wouldn't take it in my own hands and put my hands on another adult. Now, unless I was like in danger or something like that, then that's different. I would either, like they say, fight or flight. But to put your hands on an adult and your kids, that's crazy, out of line. And they whooped her butt too. And I think not to, throw a pity party, but she had sickle cell, she had sickle cell. And so, that's caused some issues too. They were talking about her ankles was kind of ashy though. She had on some Uggs, and they was talking about her feet and stuff like that. But for these kids to do that, it was out of line. And so I have to think about like, what are the parents like actually, teaching them? Are they teaching them to react this way with adults? And then when does it stop? Like where does it go to when they get older? Like when they're, teenage, actual, in high school or in college, or when they're adults. Like this are these kids that are crashing out, as an adult that we see running in the stores, jewelry stores, robbing people. I could be going off the deep end, but I'm just saying like it starts here. This is where the training and stuff like that starts at. Like where do we go? Like what are we doing? Like if my son or daughter, got into it with an adult, then I want them to tell me so, and I'll handle it. I don't want you out there fighting with the adult. Now, what if the adult had that ooh wop, you know what I'm saying? Then what? Then what would happen? Then they would be crying like we hear about this other story where these kids try to break into this dude's house, teenagers, and he laid them all down. And the mom is on the news crying, saying like, "Oh, Like all they wanted to do is rob you. That don't even sound right. All they wanted to do is rob you while you didn't have to kill them. That don't even make sense. You should be teaching your kids to not respect. Of course, if the respect is not returned, you need to tell me so I could make sure that things are handled, not taken into your own hands. I don't know. I think it's a problem at home. And I'm not, the smartest man in the world. And guess what? I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not Negrodamus either. But I think these kids may be the same kids that are getting in trouble on a regular basis, who grades are slacking. I don't know. That could be the case. What do you think, Cuzzo?
Yeah, it's just the epidemic, I believe, of what's happening with society in terms of schooling and the rate that kids are declining in terms of not only just schoolwork, but just the system in itself. And having to deal with, those things. And, it could be school shootings. It could be, kids beating up on teachers. It's like, it's just a decline of just the system in itself. And it's getting flipped on its head. And it's like the parents are the ones that parent the child. So that energy and that stuff is coming from, the parent in the household. So if they're not doing what they need to do and do their part, then that's how we get what's happening in the schools today. And then we have that on top of social media, which is another component. Kids are just able to look at things free reign on school or post stuff free reign on social media. And I think that has a problem and an issue to do, what's happening with the behavior today with younger kids. But I got to go into this post office, so let me mute up.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, yeah, I agree with some of your points, Cuzzo. I think this might be a short live stream this time. We got one more topic, and I don't know. Are you able to hear, Cuzzo, at all? You can hear? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna play this video. Let me see. Hopefully you can hear it. So Melissa Ford was on, I'm sorry, Maya was on a video with, on Melissa Ford's podcast. Melissa Ford, she left not the Breakfast Club, but Joe Budden's podcast. And so now she has her own podcast, but she had Maya on there, and they had a conversation about family and stuff like that. I'll let her roll.
Wondering how a woman as stunning as you are, that is the object of so many men's desire, and you probably have the pick of the litter, which is another thing that they assume. Wow. Yeah, girl, I know.
It's not even my focus, and it never has been. My mother's an independent thinker. I've witnessed a divorce, between my parents. I've witnessed all kinds of things. My father is a very attractive man. I've witnessed a lot of things. And it's also not been a safe place in my mind as a little girl. So I've always thought a little different. The white wedding dress, I was very fearful of those things. So I looked elsewhere and probably escaped too much in my work and keep going. But also, I think being independent has forced me to show up for myself and obviously family, friends, and this operation because I have a mission and I have a vision, but it requires me to be gone. And so that's also very much fear filled, knowing that if I have to be gone 95% of the time and my work calls for me to travel, that must be intimidating. And I also can't show up properly for my significant other. But I'm also now spiritually aligned so much where I know that I'm surrounded by love everywhere I go, right? I'm not seeking. And I know that it will be granted to me in divine time. And I'm not worried about it because my life is full of love and it comes in so many different forms, not just one person. So I've had to recalibrate my brain and not, I think, govern my life off of this fantasy or illusion that we've all been indoctrinated by or taught by. But when you have a vision as well, and you're fighting for empowerment, and especially for your women coming up, if you plan to be a label and sign young girls, et cetera, and be their protector, it requires you to show up differently and also think differently. So it hasn't been a focal point for me. And this is what it looks like. You know, I'm very happy with myself.
So it sounds like, Maya, doesn't want to or wasn't in the pursuit of having, a family, dynamic, normal dynamic wife, husband, children. And I think my question would be, are women happy, not initially, but later down the line, if they choose to not pursue a family or choose to pursue their career over a family? And so I'll just answer it. I guess I can't fully answer if they're happy, but, just thinking from the standpoint of having, children, somebody who you can have traditions with and you can create traditions with, and you can impart, knowledge in, and I know some people say, I have, love around me, or I have, nieces and nephews, that's one thing, you could definitely impart knowledge on them. You could create experiences with them, but it's limited experiences and limited knowledge because you're more than likely not around those individuals all the time. But if you had a family, son, daughter, you're able to impart in them, and you want to see them successful. You want to see them grow. You want to see them, if you're a good parent, I should say, you want to see them do better than you. And then, one thing when you're young, you're probably not thinking about that stuff because you're working on, your career, and you see yourself, especially at her, her caliber. She's an artist, and so she's she was bad too. I mean, she's still nice, but she was bad back in the day. But you're an artist, so you're traveling, you're doing all these other things, and you can't seem or see how to fit that into your time, so you kind of put it off. But then as you get older, and as you start to see things slow down, a lot, and you're not traveling as much, you're not on tour as much, you're not involved in that many engagements, like you could see having a family. I mean, I could see on the outside having a family could potentially, like be a thought, that comes up. And I know she kind of made the statement that, God will bless me in the divine time, but, I looked and she's like 46 years old. So I don't know what she meant by that statement, but at some point, things are going to dry up, and I don't think she'll be able to to do that. I mean, there was a woman, a few women in the Bible who God was able to bless, through this is what I learned, and they were able to have babies and they were barren, but I don't know. I don't know if he wants to do that for her. I don't know, but yeah, at some point things are gonna change, for her if they haven't already done so. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Maya, man, she used to, man. Let me see. Let me tell her. I know I'll wait till you're ready, but yeah, Maya, man, she she was one of them ones. She was on the list. She was on the list. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It was another thought, something else that she said that I wanted to address. Yeah, well, I'll just address this. Melissa Ford is same thing. She was out here doing her thing. I don't know if she was as celibate as Maya was, but she's in the same boat. She's in her 40s, no husband, no kids. And so it's like, I mean, I know they talk about men and legacy, but I would like to believe that women have some sort of thing that they could pass down to their kids, that when you don't have them, then, it's like, who do I pass the stuff on to? Yeah, because I don't know if you're able to talk right now, but if you can, I'd like you to hop in. If not, then I'll keep talking. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Okay, you can. Okay, cool. Let me see. Give me 1 second, y'all. I wanted to pull something else up. So I already played that.
Feeling like there was a void. Was I trying to fill? And so there were so many things that I recognized when I started looking at me versus pointing the finger elsewhere and you did this, etc. So I then began to identify all of the things, and then it made sense. So I wrote a record actually called Face to Face, and that's a hard thing to do, to look at yourself, to hold accountability over your head, then apply, correct yourself, but forgive yourself, and then also have your own funeral.
Well, now you've had a wedding and a funeral for yourself.
The old self, like seriously, it's all spiritual though. And so when you see a white wedding dress in a wedding music video, it's not, oh, she's cocky and stuck up and she's tired of men and screw men. No, that's not what it's about. It's like really doing the work and figuring out what it is that you resonate with, where your ills are, where your vulnerabilities are, where your mistakes, or were they lessons and blessings? Just self-analyzation, like you said earlier, and pouring into you to figure it out over time and letting life take its course. And beautiful things happen from that place. So it wasn't just one thing, but there's all kinds of therapy. There's nature, there's travel, solo travel, there's great friends, there's writing songs that have been therapeutic, connecting with other individuals for me, and just sharing and being very, very open and transparent about the truth.
I remember the spectacle that it became. Everybody was wondering who you were getting married to. and then you got married to yourself. Was it an actual ceremony?
So that's what I'm saying. Ridiculousness. She got married to herself. She had a wedding for herself. I get it. You know, people try to do all these different things to fill a void or whatever. That's what I think it is. You know, and try to make people think that they're fine. But I don't know. I just think that you know, when things like that happen, where women decide that they, you know, want to forego having kids, yeah, they have a great successful career. You know, but I believe that, and this might sound harsh, that men don't really care about a woman's career necessarily. They want to create things with them. They want to be the first with them. And I think that's why it bothers men so much when women have done like first things with other people. Because I could just I could speak for myself and, you know, people around me. Like when I engage with a woman, you know, I want to, you know, that I really care about. I want to make sure that, you know, I try to do things that are first. Like, oh yeah, have you been here? No, you haven't. Okay, cool. That makes me feel good. But for her to say she married herself and now she had a divorce, like, do you have to pay yourself alimony? I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know. It's like looking at one of those paintings on a wall that you know, you put on the wall, people put on the wall, and they be like, what the hell is that? And some artists came across with, they threw something up against the canvas and then it stuck and then they called it art. Like that's what this seems like to me. It's just like some craziness that she just put together. Oh, I want to divorce myself and then I want to marry myself. Like it's done. It's done, bro. But anyway, man, we're gonna cut it short this week. Looks like Cuzzo end up dropping off. I'm not sure if it's signal or whatever, but man, we appreciate y'all. Oh, there he is. He's back. But we appreciate y'all for. Cuzzo, you can talk, Cuzzo?
Yeah, man, I was in the
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Gaines talking to the post office, trying to handle some business.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see the video. I had to pull up some information on my phone. But just going back to the last thing you talked about, yeah, she's been like that. She's been like that for the longest. So the mindset that I hear when she speaks doesn't surprise me, you know, and that's kind of like being a spokesperson for, you know, being a nation of individual that thinks about their careers over, you know, building a community and upholding civilization, you know, through your bloodline. So if it ends with you, then okay, that's fine. As long as you're okay with that. That's the way I see it. And of course, not everyone's going to find the person that they want. Yeah, they are. So I'll meet you at the house. Yeah. So that's just what it is. Oh yeah, post office people are rude. That's just random.
All kinds of things. You know, my father is a very
Wondering how a woman as stunning as you are, that is the object of so many men's desire, and you probably have the pick of the litter, which is another thing that they assume.
Wow.
Yeah, girl, I know.
It's not even my focus, and it never has been. My mother's an independent thinker. I've witnessed a divorce, you know, between my parents. I've witnessed all kinds of things. You know, my father is a very attractive man. I've witnessed a lot of things. And it's also not been a safe place in my mind as a little girl. So I've always thought a little different. The white wedding dress, I was very fearful of those things. So I looked elsewhere and probably escaped too much in my work and keep going. But also, I think being independent has forced me to show up for myself and obviously family, friends, and this operation because I have a mission and I have a vision, but it requires me to be gone. And so that's also very much fear-filled, knowing that if I have to be gone 95% of the time and my work calls for me to travel, that must be intimidating. And I also can't show up properly for my significant other. But I'm also now spiritually aligned so much where I know that I'm surrounded by love everywhere I go, right? I'm not seeking. And I know that it will be granted to me in divine time. And I'm not worried about it because my life is full of love and it comes in so many different forms, not just one person. So I've had to recalibrate my brain and not, I think, govern my life off of this fantasy or illusion that we've all been indoctrinated by or taught by. But when you have a vision as well, and you're fighting for empowerment, and especially for your women coming up, if you plan to be a label and sign young girls, et cetera, and be their protector, it requires you to show up differently and also think differently. So it hasn't been a focal point for me. And this is what it looks like. You know?
And so, yeah, so I just want to stop it there. But so I had these two last things. So it sounds like also that she had some trauma because her parents had a failed marriage, what it sounds like, some infidelity. And so it was something that, scared her. Now, I get that, that's definitely something that could have you apprehensive as to, getting into a relationship as, and marriage. But the thing I don't like is the way that it's worded. It's basically discouraging other people, especially kind of like she said that, since you're hiring, young girls and things like that, or, young artists and things like that. But what if these young artists, they do want to have a family? Like, what is your message to them? Are you telling them, you have to choose? Like, what does that look like? You know what I'm saying? That's it does, like I said, it sounds like that she has some issues, with getting married because of her family dynamic and her family makeup. But how can you impart knowledge and impart wisdom on these girls that you encounter, who do want to have a family, who want the opposite? They do want a career, but they want the opposite of what, you want. I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. I'll let you share, because I know you didn't get an opportunity to. But did you get a chance to hear the video this time?
Yeah, I mean, I heard it, and like I said, she's always been that way. But I'm glad to hear, the reasoning behind it. It's not like it was behind her own experiences. She was in an industry, that she saw a lot of people being exploited. So that in itself can traumatize you as well. And then also seeing, your parents getting a divorce, and there's two attractive people, which I see she puts, looks, a lot of onus on looks, because she said that multiple times. And then, the host is saying the same thing, where you're very attractive and very desirable. And then a lot of females think that because you're very pretty and very desirable, that's enough to get you, in a situation to where a man wants to marry you. And yeah, on the surface that could be, but eventually, looks wear off, or looks don't last as long as you think they're gonna last, because people, generally want to be with someone that is not shallow. And if you're talking about looks and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, women's empowerment, all those things are, indicative of a woman that's focused on herself and, having to.
Yeah.
And
It broke up.
you still got me?
Repeat that. What you
Yeah,
said?
I mean, women of that cloth and nature, you know, talking about empowerment and want to feel empowered. There's nothing wrong with that, but oftentimes I feel like they use that as a platform to kind of have their cake and eat it too. You know, a lot of times we see women having multiple partners, treating, you know, men as men treated women, you know, coming up or back in the day, whatever you want to call it. And if that's how you want to live your life, perfect. If that's what's going to make you happy, perfect. You're doing the right thing. But yeah, I don't think that's something that's not going to be beneficial to you long term if you're looking for a certain type of life that you want to live. And if you're okay with traveling, your career, this and that, I mean, we know women that still travel to this day. That's very old. That's still beautiful. You know, we don't know their home situation, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, now that you said it, she did bring that up quite a bit, looks and things like that. And, you know, I brought it up too, because she is, hey, you know, it is what it is. She was, you know, you could see that she's Asian, but she was definitely bad back in the day when she came, you know, when she released some of those singles that were hits. And yeah, like I kind of said, I agree that some of these things that happen could affect your opinion, or you know, you wanting to pursue somebody. And you actually hit the nail on the head, because like, just because you know you were in an industry, in a space, like, doesn't mean that you were, and you're beautiful, doesn't mean you were marriage material at the time, or you were in the space to get married. Because who knows? She didn't say it, and she said, well, she did say she wasn't focused on it, but like, we don't know what else went on. We don't know who was out there who maybe was with her, and they didn't see, they wanted to be with Maya, but they didn't necessarily see her as a wife. And we don't know, like, things could have potentially changed, you know, in that case. But I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? I think yeah, there you go. Because I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Well, that is the last topic for the day. Like I said, we was gonna cut it short, but I did want to have Cuzzo share his opinion or share his thoughts on this particular topic. Any final thoughts, Cuzzo?
No final thoughts tonight. I gotta try to handle this other stuff, but appreciate you as always.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for joining the stream. Whoever the individual is that decided to join us and tap in to the entire stream, we appreciate you. For those who see this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, guess what? I mean, I've seen some people tap in already. You know, they had their opinions, and we shout out to y'all. Even though you didn't necessarily agree with some of the things that we talked about, you had your, opposite opinion, which is great. You know, because if we all thought the same way, then this world wouldn't be what it is, right? It takes some opposing opinions to get things done. So, with that being said, we appreciate you one more time. Your two favorite cousins signing out. Peace.